Telephone Hour, presenting Joseph Hoffmann. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Telephone Hour. Our soloist, appearing with Donald Voorhees and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, is Joseph Hoffmann. Our program consists of only 3 works, and 2 of them feature Mr. Hofmann. But first, the orchestra opens with a popular piece written by the famous violinist-composer Jenő Hubay. Here is a special arrangement of his brilliant violin work entitled Haya Kati. In our correspondence with Joseph Hoffmann regarding this program, we wrote that we would have about 7 minutes for a solo spot. Quickly came his reply suggesting Mendelssohn's Rondo Capriccioso in these words: "It lasts 7 minutes, is beautiful and popular. How do you feel about it?" How did we feel about it? Well, we were delighted at his choice, and we know you will heartily approve. For, as he explained, the rondo is a piece that strikes a responsive chord in the memory of almost every student of the piano and every lover of piano music. Here now is Mendelssohn's romantic and brilliant Rondo Capriccioso, played by Joseph Hoffmann.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Shirley. Tonight, if I may, I'm going to step out of my usual role as spokesman on this program for the Bell system and tell you instead about a personal experience I had a short while back. A visit to one of the most fascinating places I have ever seen in my life. It was the long lines operating room of the AT&T company here in New York, the place where long-distance calls into and out of the city are handled, to say nothing of a great many more which are routed through. As I look back, I'm not quite sure what I expected to find when I went there, but I think I had visions of a furious hubbub of some kind. I thought it was going to be like a sale in the bargain basement of a department store. That's because I know how busy the long-distance operators are. But it wasn't like that at all. I was shown into a great room where the operators sat at their switchboards. Instead of the hubbub I had expected, the only sound I heard was a low humming as the operators' voices mingled together, as though a cloud of bees were somewhere in the room. It was busy sounding. It had pace and spirit. All across the face of the switchboard panels, the tiny signals were winking on and off. They made a shifting pattern of light, never still, like fireflies. Every light a long-distance call, someone wanting to talk to someone else. I remember thinking, so this is what it's like. These are the urgent, vital war calls I've talked so much about. Each one only a tiny light on the switchboard. Then I watched the faces of the operators. Their expressions were calm but attentive, and with kind of a suppressed friendliness about them, as though they might break into a smile at any moment. Then I remember thinking, well, why not? These are the girls who have the voice with the smile. These are the operators everyone's heard so much about. And so I watched them work, their hands and arms moving with rhythm and precision as they made the connections. There was an air of quiet efficiency in everything they did. No fuss, no commotion. Their actions were orderly, confident, and businesslike. I couldn't talk to the operators, of course, but I did ask a good many questions of others, questions about equipment, practice, and procedure, which circuits were busiest between 7 and 10, when the men in camps called their families, and almost anything else I could think of. I came away with even more respect for these girls and for the way they are doing their job. I believe you would feel the same way if you could see them at work, as perhaps you may after the war. For having watched them, you would realize that they are doing a job that counts. A big war job, and doing it well.
Just 50 years ago this spring, a young man sat at a piano in a large hall in Hamburg, Germany. The audience was watching him expectantly, for here was a youth who, at the age of 18, had already been playing for 10 years with great success in Europe and America. On the podium, the conductor turned and looked at the young soloist and nodded confidently. He knew the boy would not fail, although he had had but 2 short days in which to learn the concerto he was to perform. Well, he played the concerto so perfectly that after he'd finished, the orchestra leader put his arms around the youngster and gave him a big hug. The conductor was Anton Rubinstein. The concerto played was his own. The soloist was his only private pupil, Joseph Hoffmann. Tonight, half a century later, Joseph Hoffmann plays again a part of this great piano work. Accompanied by Donald Voorhees and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, he brings us the beautiful first movement of Anton Rubinstein's Concerto No. 4 in D minor. Mr. Hoffmann. Thank you, Joseph Hoffmann. Next Monday evening at the same time, our soloist will be Helen Traubel. And on succeeding Mondays, you will hear Lily Pauls, Nelson Eddy, and Marian Anderson. So until next week then, for music you'd like to hear with Helen Traubel, Donald Voorhees, and the Bell Telephone Orchestra and Chorus, we remain sincerely yours, the Bell Telephone System.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.